So, we're going to talk about Warren Buffett today, but probably not in the way you're expecting. We're going to explore what feels like his final testament, and trust me, it's not about what you think. It really has nothing to do with money.
I mean, when you hear that name, Warren Buffett, what immediately comes to mind? Stocks, right? Billions of dollars, Berkshire Hathaway, the Oracle of Omaha. It's his whole financial legend we all feel like we know inside and out.
But what if that's not the real story? This whole explainer is built around one big idea, an imagined final letter, and it's about the only balance sheet that in the end actually matters. So let's start with that letter.
Okay, so I want you to picture this. It's Omaha. It is dark, way before sunrise, and the whole world is asleep. Inside this pretty modest house, and get this, it's the same one he bought way back in 1958. There's a man hunched over his desk. You can just see him, right? Stacks of old newspapers, a half-finished Coke sitting there. He starts to type, and you can almost feel the weight in that room. This is not some quarterly report to shareholders. No, this feels like a final accounting of an entire life. And you just know that as he's writing, a lifetime is flashing before his eyes.
And that letter, well, it kicks off this whole journey back in time, all the way back to the very beginning. Because to really understand him, you have to get this one fundamental truth he believed in, that so much of what follows is shaped by the crazy, random luck of where you begin.
He had a name for it, the ovarian lottery. Kind of blunt, right? But the idea is simple. Winning in life, he thought, has way less to do with your own genius and way more to do with hitting this kind of cosmic jackpot just by being born in the right circumstances.
And you know, the incredible thing is, Buffett was brutally honest about this. He knew he'd won. He'd say, look, I was born a healthy white male in 20th century America. To him, that wasn't a small thing. That was like starting a marathon already at the halfway mark.
This awareness of chance got super real for him when he was just a kid. He had an emergency appendectomy at age 8, a real brush with death. And get this for a quirky detail. While he was recovering, he fingerprinted all the nuns at the hospital, just in case. It sounds funny, but it shows you, even as a little kid, his brain was already hardwired to identify patterns and manage risk.
And then there was his environment. Seriously, there must have been something in the water in Omaha. It's almost supernatural. Within just a few blocks of his house lived this incredible concentration of people who would go on to shape his destiny, like his future partner, the great Charlie Munger. So yeah, Omaha wasn't just some city. It really was a forge.
And being shaped by that place, it gave him this completely unique approach. While everyone else was on Wall Street chasing the next hot trend, Buffett went back home. He chose patience when everyone else wanted hype. He chose humility over flash. He trusted his own gut over the roar of the crowd. And that, well, that became known as the Omaha way.
And the result of doing things that way? I mean, it is just monumental. He started with this single, failing textile mill called Berkshire Hathaway, and then he just slowly, deliberately started to transform it. This wasn't about making a quick buck. This was about building a real empire, one patient piece at a time.
And you can see this patience play out over decades. Back in the 60s, he figured out this brilliant strategy using insurance float, basically investing other people's money before claims get paid. In 73, when everyone was panicking, he bought into the Washington Post. In 88, he made a massive bet on Coca-Cola. These weren't quick wins. They were deep convictions he held for years, which is why his annual meeting eventually became this legendary Woodstock for capitalists.
So what's the end result of all that patience? Well, this one number kind of says it all. Over $600,000 for one single share of stock. Just let that sink in. It's a number that's hard to even comprehend, built not on speed, but on profound rationality.
Honestly, his entire method is like this quiet rebellion against our modern culture of instant gratification. He proved that slow, steady, and smart could build something way more monumental and lasting than anything that just goes viral in a flash.
Which brings us right back to that quiet room in Omaha. The sun is still not up, he's nearing the end of his letter, and now the true purpose of it all is about to be revealed. He's ready to talk about the final balance sheet.
And you know what's missing? All the financial jargon, all the metrics that analysts obsess over, CAGR, dividends, price-to-earnings ratios. None of it's there. He's pushing all of that aside because it's not what's important, not now.
Because the only assets that he wants to talk about now are these: character, the choices we make, the kindness we show, and the time we're given. This is the wisdom he wants to leave behind. So his first lesson is this powerful exercise. It's about reverse engineering your own life. He says, don't wait until the end to figure out who you want it to be. Decide now what you want your obituary to say, and then start living that life.
His second lesson is just as simple but so profound. In a world obsessed with cost-benefit analysis, he reminds us that the most valuable thing we can offer costs nothing at all, but its return is priceless.
And here he comes full circle, right back to that foundational theme. It's a final, powerful dose of humility. He acknowledges the system that let him thrive, but he never, ever forgets the role that pure, dumb luck played in just getting him to the starting line.
His final piece of actionable advice isn't about avoiding mistakes. He made plenty. It's about fearing stagnation. The real failure isn't falling down. It's refusing to learn, to grow, and to get back up better than you were before.
As he finishes the letter, the sun finally starts to rise over Omaha. And this is his ultimate truth, the core of his entire philosophy. The final measure of a life isn't your portfolio. It's not your possessions. It's what you give away.
And so, this testament from the world's greatest investor leaves us with just one simple question to think about for ourselves. What will yours say?